Hey guys, welcome back to the Spooky Swan podcast. I'm Jess,
I'm Josh.
and today we have an exciting episode for you guys. As you know, from last week, we did not spin the wheel because I didn't want to, because this week is my birth week.
Yay.
Yay! I'm not going to tell you the exact date, but it is sometime this week. So we were a little late on this episode, but that's all right. So I chose the Fear Street trilogy, and we might touch up on the Prom Queen one, A Fear Street. It's one of my absolute favorites.
One of our absolute favorites.
It's just a really, really fun series, and especially the trilogy, like how they just all come together.
Anything witchcraft related, I love because it's very dark and eerie, and then you add all the different music from each of the movies because there is a lot of music, like popular music.
That, and then it's a teen horror.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites. So let me paint the picture for you guys when we first watched this movie. These movies, the trilogy, we'll start with the trilogy. They came out in the first one, Fear Street Part 1, which is 1994, came back out in 2021, July 2nd, on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just painting the scene for you. So each movie premiered a week after another. So there was 3 movies. So the first one came out in July 2nd, second one came out July 9th, third one came out July 16th. So when Josh and I watched this, we also watched this with one of my close friends who also was really into it. And it was just really fun because we just made it a thing. Like she would come over, we would cook some dinner, whether it be I cooking dinner or Josh cooking dinner, and we all just watch it together. So that was really fun to do. But anyways, so we're going to start with, actually, let's start with this. Which one out of the 3 is your favorite?
It is hard because I do love a 70s camp horror, which is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, 90s was my era.
90s was also my era, I guess, to be born.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I don't remember much of the 90s.
No. Well, so just music-wise, that's what I grew up on. And then I guess as I got older, I started listening to the older stuff, like from the 70s. But
Mm-hmm.
the third one is nobody who was alive's era because that was the 1600s. But I still like how creepy it is.
I like how they executed it. So my favorite definitely is the second one, Fear Street Part 2, 1978. I do love Sadie Sink, and she is our protagonist for the second one. And I do love a camp horror. And I was telling Josh off air before we got on here that one, if you eliminate a little bit of the beginning of part 1, it could be a standalone movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could kind of do that with, honestly, you could do that with all of them. If you eliminate like a scene or two out of each. Like
I don't think so much with part 1. I think part 1 needs the other ones.
I suppose.
Because part 1 is what basically sets up part 2.
Well, if they ended it where they did right before kicking into the second one, I feel like they could have just left it. But we'll get into that.
All right. Then it'd be like subpar of a
guess.
movie
I guess.
if they did that. But yeah, I guess, yeah, Josh is right that it could kind of be a standalone.
Yeah.
But out of all of them, I really do think that the second one could be a standalone. It's nice. It's a late 70s style type of film. And the music for that era that they put for This movie arguably is one of the best,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
They had a lot of good music in these movies.
Yeah.
Um,
They had a lot of upbeat
yeah.
for the second one.
Second one, they played a shit ton of Kansas, but that's just something I picked up on. But yeah, I guess we should dive in because there's a lot to get through.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover today, so we're going to try to cover it for you guys. So hang in there,
Mm.
strap in. So we will begin with the first movie, obviously,
That's where you start.
because that's where you start. It doesn't make sense to start on the other ones. So we're going to start Fear Street Part 1, 1994. If you want to go ahead and watch those movies, they are on Netflix.
Netflix originals.
They're Netflix originals. Really, really good. Came out in 2021,
Hmm.
and they're still there. At least you don't have to wait weekly for them for the
Yeah,
suspense. Now you could just go ahead and binge them.
we got bent out of shape waiting.
Yeah, I know.
We
We
were
were
very
we were
excited
like, oh my god, I really need the next part.
because they would end a movie and then play the trailer for the second one
Uh huh.
like the same night it aired.
And they'd leave you on a cliffhanger, and you'd be like, ah.
Yep.
Third one wraps it up so nicely, though, guys. So
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so we start out like a lot of kids in the 90s did at the mall. And we meet Heather, who played by Maya Hawke.
which if you know that name, yeah, it should sound a little familiar to you guys, especially if you're really into Stranger Things. She played Robin,
Rockin' Robin.
Rockin' Robin. She's also Uma Thurman's daughter in
Nepo baby.
Hawks.
Yeah,
So she's a Nepo baby, but
big
she's a
time.
good one.
She's very talented. She sings, she acts, all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
But she does this thing where she plays very little parts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in this movie for about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um she also did that if you saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's in it for like a minute and a half as the getaway driver. And you're like, oh, I think that was Maya Hawke, and that's it. Um, she works at a bookstore at the mall, and it's closing time. She's getting ready to leave. She sees her friend who works at some other store and asks him for a ride. And he's like, all right, let me go close up and I'll meet you back here or whatever. And as he's walking away, he hears somebody say his name and turns and nobody's there. She's like, I didn't say anything. And she goes back, closes up, goes to put the gate down, it gets stuck, and she's like, whatever. And that's when the killer shows up, right?
Yeah, that's when the killer shows up. It's funny because she's in a bookstore and it shows Fear Street on the
Mm-hmm.
in the shelves. These are based on books, right? Loosely.
R.L. Stine.
Yeah, R.L. Stine books. So Goosebumps, but for
Teenagers.
teenagers,
Yeah.
pretty much is how we would describe it. But obviously, they made these movies kind of their own
Mm-hmm.
and took inspo, I would say more.
Yeah, they're not directly from the books, but they are loosely
Yeah.
based. Um, but yeah, the killer shows up and she thinks it's someone just fucking with her, right?
Yeah. Originally, she thinks it's Ryan fucking with her because that's
Her friend.
her loosely friend, I guess, like more acquaintance, because he scares her in the beginning
Yeah.
and she's like, screw you. And he's like, will you please forgive me? And she was like, well, you could give me a ride home. I don't want to walk home in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, yeah, no problem. But yeah, the killer comes in. She ends up blocking the knife with using a book,
One of the Fear Street books, if I
one of the
remember.
Fear Street books. And, I think she puts up a pretty good
She does.
fight.
She does okay. The killer, by the way, is dressed like a shitty ghost face, kind of like the hood and robe and all that, but it's like a skull mask.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they call it skull face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's fitting.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so she runs off. She gets out into the mall
Mhm.
and she's like screaming help for help. She's looking for her friend Ryan. She runs into a mall cop that was killed.
Mhm.
So she goes into Ryan's store, which Ryan's store
It's
is,
like a Spencer's.
yeah, I guess like a Spencer's. Um, and she's looking for him. The killer shows up and stabs her,
Mhm.
and she continues running. She ends up being able to get back out into the mall, and she starts like running to get out. And
Cue the slow motion and sad music
yes,
as the killer runs up and grabs her and stabs the shit out of her.
yeah, stabs the shit out of her. In a moment, she's able to pull off the skull mask, and then you see Ryan.
Mhm.
And then she's like, "Ryan, it's me," like, as she's dying, and then
And he looks fucking out of it.
yeah,
And
doesn't look like himself. Um, Not a minute more, sheriff shows up, shoots him in the head,
mhm.
and dead.
Right between the fucking eyes. It was a great shot.
It was a great shot. And scene. Now we go to the next day.
Well, we go to the opening credits where it kind of gives exposition of the town and how there was murders, like, all in different time periods, and, like, you see news clippings, and then we cut to our main character's house.
Okay, so our protagonist for part 1 is Dina. Her name is Dina, and we see her, um, kinda moping around,
Mhm.
broke up, going through a breakup, putting together, a box of their ex's shit together
A
to give it
a
back.
breakup box, if you
The
will.
breakup box, yes. And, um,
Her brother Josh is in the basement.
yeah, he's on, like, AOL or something like that, or
Giant 90s computer talking to some friend in a chat room.
yeah, some rando in the chat room. I love those computers. I wish they would come back. I
They're
like the
so heavy.
I like the clippity clop of the keys.
They're Yeah, they were iconic, but they were
Yeah,
so goddamn heavy, and you couldn't just buy a computer back then. You had to buy, like, so much furniture to go with it to hold it up, like, it was a lot.
I like it
Yeah.
because then it forces you to only be able to use the computer right there. Because now we have our smartphones and we have the computer right in our hands.
Mhm.
And I, I would personally like to go back to old school ways a little bit and maybe even,
I wouldn't mind it.
yeah, even though I am a phone addict, I can't lie. We
Everybody
all
is,
are.
yeah. It comes with the territory,
But I feel like it would force us to actually get up and go outside and do shit.
especially if someone didn't pay the phone bill, then they cut off the internet. But, oh god, or someone needed to use the phone and they're on dial-up, and you're, like, trying to do homework or something, and then they make a phone call and the computer shuts off. Oh, the good old days. Um, but yeah, so we see her brother Josh, and he's talking to some girl online, and it's clear that they're good friends, and they're like, "Oh, did you hear what happened last night? Two people killed at the or a bunch of people got killed at the mall." And it's it seems like the witch is back.
Yeah. So, and then Josh has this whole board behind him
Mhm,
that he connects. It's like almost like a crime scene. Like, you know how like they connect each other, and he just has every like news clipping of the past murders that happened in Shadyside.
mhm.
And
That's their town is Shadyside.
that's their town's name, Shadyside. And just like all the murders that has happened in the past,
Going all the way back to the 1600s.
going back to the 1600s, which we will get there because that is the third movie.
Mhm.
So it will come up. But he's like obsessed and then the friend that he talks to on this group chat is also obsessed, and they're discussing that it happened again and et cetera, et cetera. And then Dina comes downstairs, takes his, what is that, an MP3? I don't know.
Grabs it's a Walkman.
Oh, oh, it's a Walkman. Okay. Yeah,
I
Walkman.
had one very similar.
I wish I had one. They're so cool.
They were great. They were
Yeah.
fun. They had a belt clip. Awesome. Anyway, no, she grabs the Walkman, says this isn't yours, and
Throws it in the box.
yeah,
And yeah, and then she's like, get in the car. We got to go to school, pretty much. And then he's like, you got to get over it.
like, get over your shit.
Get over your shit.
Because she's moping because again the breakup, and then they go to school, and they go their separate ways, and she goes in the girls' room, and that's where her friends are.
Yeah, that's where she sees. This is where we meet Kate and Simon. These are Dina's friends. They are drug dealers, but not. I don't think they're using per se.
Simon does.
Simon does, but Kate is actually valedictorian. I actually peeped this recent time that we just watched this movie again.
Yeah, she felt.
And she's valedictorian, and she's basically selling Percocets and what was the other one?
Oh, Christ, there's so many.
Some other hard drug that she's selling to save up to get out of Shadyside.
Yeah, they're friends with some nurse at the hospital that gets them drugs, and yeah. But yeah, they hide like a big shoebox in the ventilation system, like full of drugs and money, and they act like it's totally normal.
Yeah, and Dina's like, what the heck are you doing in the girls' bathroom to Simon? And he's like,
Opening the candy store.
opening the candy store, So very likable people.
I will say, this is another movie where no character really annoyed me.
Really?
I'll be honest, I didn't get annoyed by anybody. I usually do.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Because I'm thinking of each character and I'm like, yeah, like even the people that are very brief in there.
Even the shitty people are entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Nobody was like really stupid or really, really bitchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hold on, I had to take a little drink there. All right. So, they're talking about the game that's happening, the football game. Kate is a cheerleader. Simon is the mascot, which it's funny because their mascot is a witch.
Mm-hmm.
So the town constantly talks about being cursed by this witch named Seraphir, and she will continuously pop up in each movie, the name. So, but this school happens to be, their mascot happens to be the witch.
Sure.
And Dina gives the box of shit and says to Kate and says, give this to Sam. And Kate is like, no. Put your band gear on. And because I guess Dina used to be a part of the band, and she was like, oh, I quit. And then Kate is like, that's your only.
Yeah, like you still have your uniform, just put it on one last time. And
yeah, I'm not getting mixed up in your ex drama. You do it yourself.
And the same time of the game, they're going to the other town, which was Sunnyvale. And they were going to have like a candlelight vigil for the mall victims.
Yeah, for the mall victims, which I find a little ironic. Did you also peep what the Sunnyvalers mascot was?
Was it like a devil?
It was the devil.
It was pretty good. I didn't notice that until we watched it again the other night.
Yeah. So that was funny. I was like, wow, way to make it really obvious. And the Sunnyvalers, their color is red too.
And they're like the rich, preppy people.
Yeah, and everything in Sunnyvale, like, all you see is, like, when they're driving in the bus over there, all you see is, like, really rich housing, and it's just everything is beautiful in Sunnyvale.
Then you drive through Shadyside, it's all, like, ghetto and run down and
Yeah, it's the ghetto.
abandoned. But, yeah, so they go there, and they're having this candlelight vigil, and Dina looks over, and we see a couple, laughing, like a football player and a cheerleader, laughing and all
Kissing and
all over each other,
groping each other
and she gets upset and leaves and, like, goes in
under the bleachers.
under the bleachers and hides, and then we just see someone walk up, and she's like, "Oh, Sam," and we're thinking it's the guy, but it's the girl. So Sam is the cheerleader that was making out with the football player.
Yeah,
That's
so
her ex,
that is her ex. Um,
and she recently moved to Sunnyvale because her parents split up.
her parents split up. Her dad stayed in Shadyside, and her mom went to Sunnyvale,
Mm.
and she chose to go with her mom to Sunnyvale. And Dina basically broke up with her because she was like, "You didn't want to accept us," and blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever. Just being really, really dramatic for, like, but a teenager.
Sam had a good point though, because she's like, all you do is complain that everything sucks and nothing's ever going to change, and it's really depressing. And she's like, sorry, I want to try to like make something out of myself.
Yeah. And then Dina's like mad and was like, "Oh, what's the guy's name?" and everything.
Yeah.
And which is none of her business,
No, who
obviously.
gives
Like,
a shit?
and then Sam's like, "You broke up with me." And then she was like, "You moved to Sunnyvale." And she was like, "Well, my parents broke up."
Yeah.
And she was like, "You made it seem like I was moving far." They are, then we find out they're only like 30 minutes apart.
It's really not that far.
Like, it's not far at all. But, Dina was just being dramatic.
Yeah. So she's like shoving the box at her, like, here, just take your shit. And they're arguing back and forth. Meanwhile, back at the candlelight vigil, the football players are like of Sunnyvale are talking shit. And they're like, they should just light a match and burn that whole fucking town down. Like it's a shithole. And then the Shady Siders are like, the fuck did you just say? And they're like getting in each other's faces. And
Yeah.
then like a huge fight breaks out and everyone's beating the shit out of each other. And
It's pretty awesome.
it is pretty awesome. Simon runs up dressed as a witch, hitting the guy with the broom and gets chased. And then the sheriff comes and, of course, breaks everything up. But then we cut to them on the bus and they're flipping out, and Kate's getting everybody riled up. Eh,
And chanting and saying that we're gonna kill those Sunnyvalers and
Yep.
stuff.
Which I thought, like, what are they really going to do?
Yeah.
But they're getting all riled up, and while this is happening, Dina's laying in the back of the bus, and she looks out the window and sees a car speeding up behind them. And it's Sam, her
New
new
boyfriend.
boyfriend, and his friend.
Yeah, and the new boyfriend is speeding behind the bus.
Mm.
And
Start throwing beer bottles at the bus and like screaming and shit. So Dina calls over Kate and Simon, like, come look at this shit. And she's like, she gets the idea, like, open the back door of the bus. I have the cooler. Like, I guess you're just gonna throw the water, but
yeah, they're gonna throw the Gatorade thing.
Gatorade,
Right.
yeah.
I don't know if it was Gatorade or water, but yeah, the Gatorade type of jog.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, Kate goes, "Your nose is bleeding." And Dina drops her side of the Gatorade thing, and it just goes flying out to their car. It smacks them right on the windshield
And runs them right off the road.
and runs them off the road. And they get into a pretty bad accident.
Crash right into a tree.
Yeah. So then Dina's like, "Stop the bus." So they stop the bus. Meanwhile, I'm like, this is going on, and what is the bus driver
It's
doing?
the world's
Because
worst bus driver.
yeah, because if I would have the bus driver would have heard, like, somebody throwing something at the bus
Not once do you hear somebody yell, "Can you shut the fucking door in the back?" Like, what are you doing?
or
What?
like, "Hey, like, shut the
Nothing.
fucking door."
Yeah.
Um,
So they pull over, they go running into the woods and find the car. And Sam is okay. She's bleeding, but she climbs out of the car. And right as she touches the ground and a bit of her blood drops on the ground, she gets a vision of Seraphir and, like, all these different images of the past, of like her being hanged and all this stuff.
yeah, so she's, like, really out of it,
Mhm.
and they go to check on her, and she's like, I'm fine," like, but she's out of it, and then Simon goes, "We need to clear her airways," and then holds up 3 fingers and says, "How many fingers am I holding off?" And she goes, "3," and he's like, she's good," and then she spits blood, coughs up blood all over his shirt.
This bright white shirt.
Uh-huh.
Eh,
Ambulance shows up, cop shows up, they get a statement from everybody. The funny thing is, even though they're Shadysiders and Sunnyvalers, they're all kind of like having the same story of, "Oh yeah, we had an accident," and, you know, no, nothing was done.
yeah, no
You know,
foul play. It was just, crazy accident. No,
yeah, because nobody wants to get in trouble,
yeah.
and and the cop is trying to pry and say, like, "Oh, if so and so comes up with a different story." It's funny because everybody ends up having the same exact story of, "No, it was an accident."
It's just cutting to each person and they're just adding on to the same story. Then it cuts to Simon and he's just like, "Fuck you, pig." And it's like, oh, okay. Fucking love Simon. So then Peter comes up to Dina and, like, says, like, "I'm gonna kill you for this." And then the sheriff looks at him and he grabs her and, like, gives her a hug and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." And then lets her go. And then, what is it there? Kate's babysitting?
They all return home. Kate goes to babysit. Simon's there with her,
Hmm.
and
Still covered in blood. He didn't change that shirt.
yeah, he went to work apparently in that shirt, and yeah,
He's a mess.
he's just a mess. He's a hot mess, guys. And Kate is babysitting these twin girls, and she has all these drugs out, and then she's telling them to sort them by color
Mhm.
and separate them, and then she also tells the kids, "Don't eat any of these because then your little heart is going to stop and you're going to choke, and your family's going to be very upset."
And she's like, "If you do this, then you could watch, what was it, The Bachelor with me or
Yeah.
something like that."
And then the girls are like, "Okay." And
Okay.
they go ahead and do it. And that's it.
Meanwhile, back at Dina and Josh's house, we see the mass killer from the beginning standing outside the house. And Dina thinks it's Peter fucking with her.
Mhm.
So she calls Kate, who's literally like 2 houses down.
Well, first she opens the door and starts yelling
Hmm.
to, you know, go away, pretty much.
Yeah, she grabs a knife and runs outside.
Grabs a knife, threatens,
He's gone.
he's gone. Um, but then somebody breaks into her house.
Yeah, well, he then pops up at the other house, at the house that Kate's at, and he's like going through the laundry.
Yeah, going through the laundry, breaks a window, goes through the laundry. They see him, and then he dips. So then Dina and them, they all go to um the twins' house. They end up saying, Dina ends up grabbing the keys, and it was like, "Fuck this. I'm gonna find Sam. I'm gonna go to the hospital," and
tell her to get a grip on her psycho boyfriend.
Yeah, basically, like,
And they bring the twins next door to Miss Lane's house,
yeah,
where
Miss Lane's house, well, she will pop up
she
later
will pop up
on,
later.
ask them to babysit,
And she's
and
like,
then,
"Oh, of course. I used to be a nurse." And then that cuts to the next scene.
yeah, they all go to the hospital. They try to see which room Sam is in, but obviously visiting hours are closed. So then Kate goes, "Can I talk to Nurse Betty?"
Mhm.
And then
Betty is a middle-aged man.
Betty is a middle-aged man. Yes. And it's Betty, Beddy.
Mhm.
And then he's over here like, "Oh, we're short on blueberries and bananas."
Yeah. And Josh is with them because he's got like a crazy crush on Kate, and they brought him with them, and he's just like staring at her the whole time. And Dina goes to with Nurse Betty to find Sam, and the others are like by the vending machines, and Josh like does some hacking and lets all the snacks loose at once because nobody had money.
Yeah, I want this hack.
It used to work.
It used to work.
Yeah.
I guess you got to find an old snack machine like that.
I used to do it on the soda machines by my house
Really?
back when they had them, yeah.
But I bet you if you see an old snack machine like that, it probably has really, really old expired snacks.
Yeah, fucking dust. Um, yeah, and then Josh awkwardly is like, "Oh, so when did you guys start selling blueberries and bananas?" And Kate's like, "What?" He's like, "Drugs." And she's like, "Yeah, this is just to pay for college or whatever."
Yeah, pretty much says she's getting out of Shadyside and she just needs to cover. So that's basically the only reason why she's selling drugs.
Yeah. And then Dina goes to find Sam and
She starts going off on Sam.
saying like, "Your psycho boyfriend this and that," and she's like, "He's been here the whole fucking night." And then in he comes and she's like, "Oh, perfect timing," and starts flipping out on him, and they're going back and forth. And right as the argument's getting good, Peter stops and you look down and there's a knife through his chest, and the killer pops up behind him. And Dina grabs Sam and they run out of the room like, fuck Peter, I guess. Just leave him.
Hell yeah, there's a killer on the loose, of
they,
course.
they
You're
literally
going to
just
leave the
left him there.
person there.
Said, fuck that shit.
Yeah, so they start running and then they run right past Kate, Simon, and Josh, and they're like, "Run, run!" Like
Killer's here. Fucking run.
the killer's here, run, run, run. And who was it? Was it like Simon who was like, "Oh, did they make up?"
Did they get back together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
And the killer runs right past them.
The killer runs right past them, and then they see the killer, and they're like, "What?" And they start running.
And then Dina and Sam hide behind like the reception desk and they turn and see the dead body of the first nurse that was there. And then we see the killer walking past the desk. And then Nurse Betty comes walking in. He's like, hey, man, you can't wear that mask in here. And then poor Nurse Betty gets fucking
Killed.
killed.
Yep. And then Dina and Sam are behind the receptionist desk, like trying to hide. But then the skull mask killer comes to go after them, so they jump over
Mm-hmm.
and he grabs Sam, but then Dina jumps on his back. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Simon, Kate, and Josh steal an
They
ambulance.
just steal an ambulance because
Ambulance.
fuck it.
Yeah. And then they ended up helping them get into the ambulance and then they speed off.
Mm. And they're, confused. Like, what the fuck's going on? We got to go to the cops. The killer's at the hospital.
Yeah. So they go to the cops. What do cops usually do in most movies? They don't really help. They kind of make you seem like you're crazy and
Make fun of you right away.
yeah, pretty much, and dismiss you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what they do because they were like, "Oh, it's the school mask killer. It's Ryan Torres
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning of the movie." And the cop is like, no, can't be. He's dead.
He's like, I shot him myself. He's dead.
I shot him myself. He's dead. And then they get a call that, there was a killing at the hospital and stuff. So the cop that's helping them, the sheriff that is helping them, um, is like, I'm going to take care of that. Here, take care of this with the kids, tells the other cop to finish up with them. Um, as this is going on, there is a person that was arrested. His name is Martin.
Martin. I love
Yes.
Martin.
So cool.
Yeah.
He kind of goes to Josh and he's like, hey, like, help me out.
Yo, Urkel.
Yeah. Actually, no. I'm sorry. That happens later. That
No,
happens later in the movie.
he wasn't in the police station he was in there the whole time.
Yeah, so he was locked up during that time. You see a small scene of him, but
he's the janitor from the mall.
yeah, so we'll get into that a little later, but because he comes up later on and it's very enjoyable. But anyways, they try to go to the cops. Nothing comes out of it. Dina's able to pretend smack the crap out of the cop and be like, you monster, you don't help us, and stuff like that. But she actually just pickpockets a knife.
No,
Not a knife, a gun from him. And then they all take off back in the ambulance, except for Simon. Simon kind of wanders a little bit on his own.
Simon was taking a piss on the side of the police station, as you do. And then he hears somebody singing, and he turns to see like a short girl just like huddled on the ground singing to herself.
Uh-huh.
And he goes to check on her, and she pulls a straight razor on him and attacks him. And he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, so then who ends up shooting?
Dina.
Okay, so Dina takes out the gun, shoots the girl.
Mm-hmm.
That will come up later on. And they help Simon. And they all get in the ambulance. They start driving off. And they're like, what the fuck was that?
This is a stupid part, though, because she shoots her and then just drops the gun and runs instead of taking it with her.
Yeah. There's always some little stupidity somewhere.
Yeah.
Again, the movie's depicting them as like high school students. So would high school students actually be smart in these scenarios?
Probably not.
Probably not. So they all get into the ambulance. They're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? And they start... What happens here? I think they start deciphering that, like, they were actually going after Sam.
Because her blood spilled on the grave.
Yeah, so they had this realization that they're going after Sam. Dina originally is, like, in denial and saying, like, no, they're not, because they went after me, and then they went at Simon, and then Simon's like, wait, but I have her blood on my shirt, and they were more interested in my shirt.
Yeah, because when they find the shirt after the killer left the house the first time, there was like stab marks all over the shirt.
Yeah. And the same thing with Dina's shoe. Dina got a little bit of Sam's blood on her shoe, because then she was like, yeah, but they were in my house too. And they're like, Dina, your shoe. So then they devised this plan to use Sam's blood to lure the past killers all together and kill them all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So they devised this plan in the high school, pretty much. And
because kids always just are able to get into their high schools in these movies. I don't know how, but they do.
I think we could easily get into our high school or old high school. There was ways.
I guess.
Because I used to get into our high school all the time when I was younger.
Mm.
But during that time, I was a high school student. So obviously, when you're a high school student,
It's more acceptable.
It's more acceptable when you're when you're done with that. When you're done with high school, you're like, huh, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so they go to the high school, and they immediately grab the lost and found box and change all their clothes and, like, start getting cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And they all kind of split off into groups, and Sam and Dina are in one room, and Kate tells Josh, like, "I don't wanna go in the bathroom by myself." So he's like, "Oh, okay," and goes with her. Then Simon goes in the boys' room alone, and they all just collectively agree, like, "We could probably gonna die tonight, so we might as well just go at it."
Yeah,
So,
pretty much hook up. So Sam and Dina hook up. They get cleaned up. They hook up. Uh, Kate and Josh hook up, but I think they only like make out.
yeah.
And then Simon, pretty
Yeah, just
yeah,
alone
you
time.
know, because then he's like afterwards, he's like, "Whoa, everybody went to Pound Town, so did I."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and then they what was it? They put all the bloody clothes in, like, the girls' room?
yeah, and then they also take, they cut Sam's hand. They have her drop blood into like a water bucket,
Mhm.
and then they take a mop of her blood and they make like a trail, basically,
Mm.
all of the entrances of the high school to go into this bathroom. So they all smell her blood and go in there.
Mhm.
They also have Sam in there, but what she's going to do is make sure they all get lured in there and then crawl through the vent to the other bathroom, and they're going to blow them all up.
Yeah, all the killers show up and they go into the bathroom. Sam climbs out, they lock the door, and they set it on fire and blow them all up.
Which works and it's exciting, and then they realize that the killers are starting to, like, piece themselves back together.
You know, their bodies are, like, slowly morphing back together. It's really gross and awesome.
Yeah, so they run off, they go into, like, a science room of some sort, they lock it up, they board it up. They're all yelling at each other, like, "What can we do?" Kate pretty much is like, "There's nothing we can do. They're not after us, they're after her." So we put Sam out in the hallway and, you know,
Which eventually she even though Dina's, like, arguing not to, Sam's like, "No, she's right, I have
Sam pretty
to."
much accepted it. Sam
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Like, they're only after me. Like,
Mhm.
it is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna have you guys die pretty much for me." So they put her out in the hallway. They hold Dina back, and Dina's like, "There has to be another way. There has to be another way." Josh starts going through all the news articles of all the past killings, and then stumbles across 1978, which is part two,
Mm.
but we'll get there. um, and sees that there was one survivor. And then they were like, "Well, how did she survive? How did she survive?" They go in a phone book. Surprisingly, they have a phone book in there,
Mm.
and they find the person's number,
Mm.
and they call. Dina calls and is like, "Hey, we're in trouble. We need to know how you survived." Da 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 da. And then, um,
She leaves a message.
yeah, who figures it out? Is it Sam or is it Josh who figures it out? One of them figures it out and says she didn't survive. Her heart stopped.
Josh figured it out because the title of the news article was "I Saw the Witch." So he's like, "All right, she saw the witch just like Sam did, which means she found a way to beat the killers, and it looks like she died and was revived. Maybe that's it. If she dies, maybe they stop following her because technically the job's done."
Yeah. So then they figure that out. They pull Sam back into the classroom right before she's about to get killed.
Mhm.
And they were like, we found another way. they tell her the plan, and she's like, screw it, I'm dead either way.
Mhm.
And they jump out the window, get out, and here's where I'm like, they should have just ridden in the ambulance, killed her, and brought her back to life.
You pointed this out when we were watching it, and it made 100%, you know, it made sense.
Because you could keep moving.
Yeah.
I'd have like Kate or Simon drive,
Mhm.
and then feed the girl pills
Which is the plan, which
to kill her.
instead of driving around constantly moving, you go to a grocery store with so many entrances that you have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so Simon works at this grocery store, right? And he has access to the pharmacy area
And
there.
he's constantly employee of the month, if you notice that.
Yeah, which is hilarious. He probably is the only employee
Probably is.
and just puts himself as employee of the month.
I would too.
I know at my job, employee of the month is a joke. Like they only make it like the same 5 people.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like when we worked at the escape room and I got, was it game master of the week or month, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I was so happy, even though it didn't matter. But, I was happy. Anyway, so they're at the grocery store. They're coming up with their plan. They're telling Sam, all right, here's what we're going to do. They're dumping pills out on the table and like separating them. It's very funny. It's like, all right, you're going to take these and they're going to make you loopy. All right. Then you're going to take these and they are going to bring your heart rate very, very low. You are going to feel sick. Then, this is very important. You got to wait 5 minutes in between pile 2 and pile 3 of your pills because if you don't, you're going to fuck everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Pile 3 is going to knock you out completely and kill you. He's like, I know this. My brother did this. And they brought him back, so it's going to work just fine. So Sam's like, all right, fuck it.
Then he gives all these EpiPens.
Like a shit ton of EpiPens.
And he's like, this is what's going to bring your heart back.
Yeah. It's like, this is adrenaline. This is going to bring you back. Meanwhile, the whole scene with the EpiPens, I'm watching it. And if you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, you will notice that they were doing it wrong the whole time. You have to break the breastplate. Anyway.
Uh-huh.
So she starts taking her pills and she gets to pile 2 and she's like throwing up because it's like a shit ton of pills. Meanwhile, Kate, Simon, and Josh are splitting up to cover different entrances.
Yeah, and they put Sam's blood on them so they could like basically be bait.
Yeah, they're the decoys.
Uh-huh.
And Dina's helping Sam with the drugs, and Sam's getting all fucked up and like loopy and touching Dina's face.
Yeah,
like,
so this is the only part that I'm really mad about the movie because like I said, they should have just went in the ambulance and continued driving.
Yeah.
And
they probably had those paddles, like the clear, like in the ambulance. They could have just used those.
Yeah.
Made no sense.
But no, let's make things a little bit more difficult because it's a movie and we want the suspense.
There was a lot of suspense.
Yes.
So, right on schedule, killers start showing up. Everyone's getting attacked left and right. Simon is in like a stock room and the singing girl pops up behind him, but he's ready for her and he turns and stabs her in the neck with like a box cutter. And then we meet another killer who was from 1978 and he's like a giant man with an axe and he's chasing Josh.
Yeah, and then there's another killer that I couldn't even tell you what year he's from, but he was like the milkman one.
The milkman, yeah.
Uh-huh. And he goes after Kate.
But then...
Well, he originally goes after Sam and Dina.
And
and they knock over the
skull face killer goes after Kate.
Well, they were originally going after Dina and Sam. They knock over the pills. And Kate comes out with hairspray.
Oh, that's right. He sets him on fire.
Sets him on fire.
It's awesome.
and then tells them to go. And then that's when the skull face guy comes out and starts beating the shit out of Kate.
Mm,
And as much as it sucks, even though it was a pretty cool kill,
that's pretty great.
Skullface unfortunately wins and puts her through a meat grinder, and then you see Kate go through a meat grinder, which is so brutal. And I was like so upset
Yeah.
for her because I'm like, damn, like she was valedictorian and everything, and she could have been alive if she just walked away,
Yeah.
type of thing. But yeah, she risked her life
Yeah.
for Sam. The only reason they ended up risking their lives for Sam is because she was going to sacrifice herself.
Mm,
So they were like, because you were going to sacrifice yourself, we're going to be here for you, kind of thing.
yeah.
So then Dean is like, fuck, knocked over the pills. So we're going to have to come up with a different plan. From a distance, they see a tank with the lobster
The
in it.
lobster tank, yeah.
Yeah. So they come up with the new idea of, we're going to drown you until you die, which is very painful.
And I know she's high as shit, but she's very accepting. She's like, okay. She's like, fuck it, let's give it a shot.
Yeah. So you know what makes me mad? Knowing that you have to die, like, I would start inhaling the water, wouldn't you? If I knew I had to die to try to
I don't
make it
know.
go faster.
I don't know how that would work. I've never drowned. Almost did, but yeah, I don't know.
I almost have too, but like I know you do try to fight.
You fight it, and I guess eventually it collapses your lungs.
Yeah, but knowing like if I knew I had to die and help my friend to die faster, I think I would have at least taken inhaled
Mhm.
water because that would have speeded up the process.
But then when they're bringing you back with CPR, wouldn't that affect it? Like if you have even more water in your lungs?
I would just think that you would just be spitting out more water.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd
If
just
you
be
guys
coughing out more water.
if you guys know the logistics of drowning, please let us know in the comments.
I know it's like a very painful way of dying.
One of the most painful.
Yeah. I think um being put on fire probably is the worst way to die.
Yeah.
The most painful way to die.
I've almost drowned twice when I was a kid, and now I'm a great swimmer. But
Same. I'm not a great swimmer, but I've almost drowned like twice.
yeah, the first time, neglectful parents. I fell in the pool and I just didn't notice. The second time, I fell through the ice and got pinned in between the ground underneath and the ice.
Ah, crap.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mine was the beach and I
Mm,
got knocked out and then I tried to like pick myself up, but I was so young, so I tried to pick myself up, but I kept getting dragged by the water.
mm.
Somebody pulled me. I can't remember who pulled me out. Somebody was like, "Whoop." Yeah, but I was young. So, and then the second time was my fault. I was very stupid. I put my head under the ladder. Don't ask me why I did that. I don't know. As kids, we do stupid shit, and then I almost drowned that way. Luckily, because I got stuck.
Mhm.
But luckily, I was able to like quickly force myself down to get out of
Mm.
under the ladder. Yeah, but that was my own stupidity.
Kids do the darndest things.
Yeah, we do.
But, yeah, so people are dying.
Yeah.
Kate dies. Uh, Josh and Simon are running down two separate aisles of the store.
They see that Kate got killed
Mhm.
and they're all like, "Oh my god." And for that split second, um Simon dies.
He gets he gets an axe to that.
He gets an axe to the head. And then the guy with the axe starts coming at Josh now.
Who
Dina is
is
still trying to drown Sam.
it's taking a very long time.
I know, there's another killer like basically closing in on them.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. It's very suspenseful of all the killers emerging on them at once as Dean is trying to kill Sam, Josh is trying to reach them, and finally we see Sam just kind of let go
Yeah.
and she's dead.
The lights flicker and then all the uh what is it, murders? Past murders?
Yeah, they all disappear.
They all disappear.
So she was like, Josh, help me. They grab her out of the water and they start sticking her with the EpiPens.
Uh-huh.
And again, if you're trying to bring someone back this way, there is a breastplate over the heart that you have to break through, and tiny EpiPens just will not do that. So you have to stab the shit out of it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's not working. So they do CPR, and finally she spits up water, and she's okay.
Yeah, she comes back to life.
Um,
Pale as a ghost. Then that's when they are back at the police station, and now they're talking to the sheriff again, and they're saying their stories again, not snitching on anybody, just saying that it was dark, somebody broke in, somebody killed them, they don't know what happened, type of thing. And the sheriff's like, you do know, like, if you're not honest with me, the media is going to rule it out as they were drug dealers.
Yeah, just two junkies.
Two junkies, pretty much. And they were like, it's unfortunate, but they're already dead.
Yeah. And she's like, I guess it'll just fit your narrative like it always does. Like
Yeah.
some Shadysider went crazy and started killing people again. So they leave and Sam's mom shows up and
Well, right before that, pause, rewind. This is when we meet Martin.
yes.
He's like to
Yo, Urkel.
Yeah, to Josh. And he's like, help me out, kind of thing, because he's cuffed up behind him. So then originally Josh ignores him, but then he's like, all right, bet. Like, I see how it is. And then Josh ends up pretending to cough and throw like a paper clip near him.
So he could pick his cuffs loose?
Yeah, so he could pick his cuffs loose. And then he's like, thanks, I owe you. And then gives him a business card.
I don't know why a janitor would have a business card, but...
Yeah. So, okay, so they end up leaving. Sam's mother shows up now, like Josh said, and she's pissed. She's like, get in the car, let's go. And then Dina is like, pretty much like, I hope I could see you tomorrow. And then she's like, no, today. Like, they kiss. She's like, I'm gonna go with you. And then mom leaves, pissed off. And then it looks like it's a happy ending and everything's resolved.
Josh orders pizza.
Sam and Dina are cuddling in the bed and listening to music.
Yep. Then the phone rings. And Dina answers it. Mind you, this is also doesn't make sense because dial up and Josh is on the computer talking to his friend as it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
It bugged me so much. But
maybe they have two lines.
Maybe.
Because, in Seventh Heaven, they ended up getting a second line.
Oh my God. Not Seventh Heaven.
So when I was a kid, I never watched Seventh Heaven, and it used to be the show to watch. So by the time I started somewhat watching Seventh Heaven, it was like way too far in the series to actually get into it, and I was really upset. But then they put it on Paramount Plus, so now I've been watching it from like the beginning on.
Yeah. And it's awful.
No, it starts off good. It's
a very different show knowing what we know now about the father.
Yeah, if you can kind of disassociate from that a little bit, then it's a really good show.
Sure.
But sometimes we watch the episode together and we start yelling at him like, you're a petty.
Pedo, get out of here. Ugh. Anyway. So the phone rings. Dina answers, and it is the girl that they tried calling earlier.
C. Berman. And was like, oh, wow, you survived. And she's like, yeah, we fixed it. It's over.
No thanks to you. Thanks for your speedy reply.
Yeah, and she goes, it's never over. You don't even know the half of it. And then it cuts to Sam.
she turns around and she's like, "Sam?" And Sam's standing there looking at her, very glazed look on her face.
Mhm. And stabs, Dina in the stomach.
And she drops the phone and falls down, and then it cuts to credits.
No, not just yet. It cuts to Josh typing on the computer with his internet friend because the internet friend is like, "Oh, did you hear, 2 junkies?" And
Mm,
he was like, "Well, I knew Simon and I knew Kate, and they were brave and this, and that, and smart and kind."
mhm,
Um, and that's not who they were.
yeah. All while we're hearing, like, a tussle happening upstairs.
Yeah, and then it cuts to somebody behind Josh
That's
touch his shoulder, and then it's Dina bleeding, saying basically like, "You gotta help me."
mm,
And then that's when it ends,
mm,
and then that's when you see a preview of the part 2 of the 1978, and the preview basically shows, um, they find C. Berman, and she's basically telling her story from 1978.
mhm.
So now we're gonna go and switch over to part 2.
The good one. Well, they're all good, but the better.
They're all good. This is the better one. The protagonist of this one is, well, first they break into C. Berman's house, Dina and Josh.
Well, we meet Seaberman, and she is played by Jillian Jacobs. You would know her if you watch Community.
Mm.
Um, she lives alone with her dog, and there's locks, like 20 locks on the doors, all on the windows. She has alarms set for everything, uh, timers on everything. Like, she's clearly like a shut-in crazy person. And her whole night is just like her sitting with her dog watching TV and then making food and then passing out after drinking and then
And repeat,
and
basically.
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, and just hiding away from the world pretty much.
Yeah.
So Dina ends up getting in by a window because they end up like knocking at her door and using a flashlight, and she hides her dog. Uh, what is it? Major Tom? Major Tom.
Major Tom.
Yeah. Hides her dog in the closet, which I found funny because the dog was pretty quiet when she hid the dog in the closet, but he was not quiet when it was time for his dinner.
That's right. Yeah, she should have just gave him more food.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so she climbs in through the window and she goes to attack her and she's like, wait, we called you, we called you. Like, what the fuck? And she's like, you shouldn't have come here. Why the fuck did you come here?
Yeah. And they were like, we need answers, stuff. And she was like, "No, I can't help you. Get away as far as possible from this town and never look back." Pretty much. And she's like, "No, like you don't get it. Like my girlfriend, da 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 da." They bring Sam, and then she's like freaking out and she's like, "Why did you bring her here?"
She's tied up in the trunk of the car. We should
Yeah.
mention that.
That was pretty funny. And then she's like, "Please, you have to help us." And then she's like, "Fine, but like keep her away from Major Tom."
Mm,
So they tie her up in the bathroom. And then she pulls out a scrapbook and then she says, it starts with this day, the first day of camp. And 1 week later, my sister was dead. And then we go to a flashback of 1978. And this is where we meet Ziggy, our protagonist. Would you say Ziggy and Cindy are the protagonists for the most part?
yeah,
Okay.
I would say.
So we say these two sisters, Ziggy and Cindy, are the protagonists of this movie. Ziggy, it starts with her like being chased by all these kids because she stole $10 from someone.
Hmm.
And then they all like start grabbing this poor girl and they're calling her a witch and saying she's possessed. And then they hold her down and they tie her arms and they start hanging her
Mm.
to, and then they go to like burn her.
They do burn her up.
They burn her arm, and then that's when another counselor comes running out and was like basically yelling at them to stop.
Hmm.
And the other camp counselor is like, "That's strike 5. Pack up your shit. Call your mom. You're going home." And then the other counselor is like, "No, because you burnt her. We're not going to send her home with that because we're going to have all these questions.
Yeah.
So give her one more chance."
The other camp counselor, by the way, is Nick Good, who is also the sheriff as a young kid.
Yeah, this is him as a young kid. Oh, alrighty. So,
Oh, was I not supposed to say that?
no, that's fine.
They do say that though, like right
They
away.
do, they do.
What to say? It's
Yeah.
in the
I
trailer.
was like, I don't think we mentioned Nick Good as the sheriff. Yeah, so he is the sheriff in part 1.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's not a spoiler. They do mention it in the trailer.
No, it's not a spoiler. You're right. I just had to think about that for a second. So yeah, he runs after Ziggy to pretty much check on her, and she just kind of like flips him off.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, thank you so much for saving the helpless Shadysider." The flips him off like, "Fuck you, dude."
Yeah, like fuck you, dude. This character is played by Sadie Sink, another Stranger Things
She's so
girly.
good in this movie.
She is really good in this movie.
Oh,
I like her a lot. I like all the shit that she's been in.
what was the other? We saw her. She was in The Whale with Brendan Fraser.
She was in The Whale. She was really good in that
That's a great
too.
movie.
I know she had a smaller part, but she was really good.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in Dear Zoe. I don't think you didn't see that because it's more of a chick flick.
Mm.
But in that movie, her sister dies and she blames herself.
Oh,
So, yeah.
sounds like a fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
While this is happening, we meet her sister, who is Cindy Berman.
Uh-huh. And she's with her nice boyfriend Tommy, and they're cleaning
The outhouse.
the outhouse. And there's like red moss everywhere, and it stains her brand new polo shirt. So you kind of see the difference between the sisters. One is like trying to have everything together and trying to be good and
Super preppy.
yeah, and super preppy, and the other one's like kind of more like I don't give a fuck and is rebellious and is basically like we're cursed, so it is what it is.
Kind of like Dina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good connection there. Yeah. Oh, like her. And yep, so they are cleaning the bathroom, the music goes out, they realize, oh shit, like the other 2 camp counselors that are supposed to be helping us are not here, so they go off looking for them. And then that's when we meet Alice and fortunately I don't know the other kid's name. I think it was like Artie
Artie?
or
Something like that. He's not Arnie. Yeah, it's Arnie.
Arnie. Okay. I was pretty close.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're you know,
They're going at it.
they're going at it. Okay, there is a bit of nudity
Yeah.
um in these movies.
So Cindy walks in and she's like, oh my God, oh no. And they start laughing at her like, wow, you are no fun.
Yeah. And Alice is calling her a snitch. Apparently, they used to be friends, but Cindy snitched on Alice. We don't find out what it is until later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just keep, hinting at that throughout the movie.
Yeah, that she's a snitch and she's a goody two shoes and everything. And she used to have fun and she doesn't have fun and stuff. And then, meanwhile, Ziggy goes to see Nurse Lane.
Nurse Lane.
Yep.
Who is Miss Lane from the 90s.
Yep, from the beginning. The one that is the neighbor that ends up babysitting the twins. She's Nurse Lane in this. And when Ziggy walks in there, she can't really find Nurse Lane, but it's implied that she has a great friendship with Nurse Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Nurse Lane, I'm hurt. Like, where are you?
I'm in trouble again.
Yeah, I'm in trouble again. And then she actually finds Book of the Devil
Yeah, she finds like the diary with all like the witch's mark and all of these passages and like,
on Nurses Lane's stuff. And then Nurse Lane pops out and she's like, oh, I have a burn mark on me. So Nurse Lane goes to clean up her burn and is like, Ziggy, Ziggy, like, what am I going to do with you?
mhm,
Type of thing. And at first she starts off charismatic, but then she kind of starts talking about her daughter. And because Ziggy brings up, like, what's that book about? And she's like, oh, do you know about my daughter? What they say about my daughter? And originally Ziggy's like, no, like, and she's like, that's not true. Like, what are the kids saying nowadays? And saying that, like, she killed 7 people. And Nurse Lane's like, no, she killed 8. She killed herself also. And that's not like my daughter.
mhm.
She was possessed. She was kind. She was a great singer. She was a part of the
Yeah,
choir.
she had a great singing voice, which
Yeah. Uh-huh.
we realize is the girl from the 90s with the straight razor.
Yes. And, well, yeah.
Mhm.
I guess she did that killing in the 60s, I believe.
Yes.
Um, so she's taking care of Ziggy's wound, and then she starts, like, getting too invested in her story and kinda, like,
She's like zoning out a bit.
zoning out of it, and then she's wrapping the crap out of Ziggy's arm, hurting her
Mm.
to the point, and then finally Ziggy screams at her like, "Nurse Lane, like, you're hurting me." Like, she snaps out of it, gives her some cream, Ziggy runs off.
And that's when her sister Cindy bumps into her, or Cindy walks in and she's like, "Hi, Nurse Lane. Like, I just came to collect my sister."
Mhm.
And
So they walk out, Ziggy's like, "Is something wrong with, like, Nurse Lane?" And Cindy's like, "Who cares about Nurse Lane? You're gonna get us in trouble. You're gonna get us both kicked out of camp. Can't you behave?" Like, pleading with her sister. Um, they pretty much go off on each other
yeah.
a bit. They don't really have a great relationship, you can tell,
Mhm.
as they're polar opposites. So tends to happen sometimes with siblings.
Yeah.
And so they both kind of split up, and then Ziggy's told that to go check her room.
Yeah, by the girls that burned her in the beginning, and she's like, "Oh, looks like somebody messed up your room. I don't know what's going on in your bunk." So Ziggy runs off to check that, and then Cindy is cleaning up the mess hall with
With Tommy,
Tommy. Yeah.
and you hear like there's some presence in the background, right?
Mhm.
And Cindy's just like focusing on cleaning. She snaps her sponge from cleaning the floor
Mhm.
because she's pissed off with Ziggy. She's also pissed off with Alice and everybody else, pretty much.
Yeah, she's just all around in a shitty mood.
Yeah, and Tommy's like, chill, babe, like, it's not that serious and everything. She goes off to the back to go get a sponge. She comes back. Then it cuts to Nurse Lane saying to Tommy, I'm sorry, you're doomed. You're going to die one way or another. And she goes at him with a knife and uh, knocks him in the back of his head. And Cindy kind of just, she freezes
Mhm.
pretty much. She just stares and freezes, and she's like scared, but like doesn't do anything, like doesn't move. And Tommy is able to throw Nurse Lane off of her and knock her out.
He's laying on the ground and is still able to throw her into the bench right next to them and
Uh,
like slam her head and knock her out. It was impressive.
yeah, yeah, but he's a teenage boy. Teenage
Still
boys are
though.
strong.
Still though.
Yeah, teenage boys are strong.
But yeah, so the ambulance comes and takes out Nurse Lane, and the cops are interviewing like Cindy and Tommy, and they're like, is there any reason she would attack you? And he's like, no, I've only ever spoke to her when I like went to get bug spray. Like,
Mhm.
didn't really know her.
Yeah, and she was never mean or anything and doesn't have anything against me or anything, and we barely exchanged anything.
No.
And then, they're wheeling her away in the ambulance, and Sunnyvalers are like, "Oh, she's fucking went crazy, like her daughter.
Yeah.
She's having a psychotic episode."
And then they change the mood and they're like, all right, guys, tonight's color war. We can't keep dwelling on, sad things. We need to focus on tonight. We're playing capture the flag.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's bothering Cindy a little bit. It's in the back of her head,
Hmm.
and she was like, and then the rest of her camp counselors that are Shadysiders are like, "Oh, it must be the witch."
Yeah, they're all like joking around about it.
Like,
And she keeps looking at Tommy because something is very off with him. He seems like his mind is not there. Like he's just
but again, like they brush it off a little bit because he did hit the
yeah.
back of his head. He did bleed a little bit. And Cindy's like, "Do you need to lay down? Or do you need to sit out from color war because you don't look so great?" And he's like, "No, no, like I'm fine, like it's okay." And she's like, "Good, because I need you. Like we need to find out what Nurse Lane was on because they think Nurse Lane is on drugs."
Mm.
So she wants to break into the infirmary to see what type of drugs Nurse Lane was on.
And they do. And while they're doing that, we see Ziggy.
Putting together some paint to go paint her room. And then Nick shows up at her room to just check up on her and see how she's doing. And was like, "I noticed that you weren't in um the color war."
Like, yeah, because they had like an assembly and it was a whole thing.
Yeah. But she's putting the paint together, getting ready to paint her room because unfortunately they put, Siggy is a bitch witch, calling her a monster and all this stuff. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess you could paint your room, but I have something better."
Well, no, because he knew what she was really going to do with the paint because she was going to originally dump it on that girl because he was like, "Oh, you're going to carry her," and she's like, "Oh, you read Carrie?" He's like, "Yeah, I read all of those books."
Oh, I thought she was going to paint her room. I didn't peep that.
No, she was going to dump the paint, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean that's creative and all, but I got something better."
Yeah.
And he's like,
But he's like, I'll carry on,
"Yeah,
type of
carry
thing.
on."
And then she's like, "Wait, what idea do you have?" And then he pulls the keys to, he was like, what does he say? He says like nature or something.
Nature and science or something like that,
Yeah.
and they go to the it's like a science room. There's animals and like snakes and
And bugs
lizards
and
and
stuff.
bugs. So while they're doing that, um, Cindy and Tommy are in the infirmary looking around in the desk and they find a bottle of pills. And Cindy's like, "See, I knew it. They're half empty and there's no label on this. She was on drugs." And then they find the book and they're looking at that. And that's when
Alice and her.
Arnie, sorry, our cats are knocking shit over in the other room. What do they get?
It's a tunnel.
Oh, yeah. We have a tunnel for our cats, and they like to drag it around the house.
It's actually Sawyer.
What do you do?
He's playing with the tunnel, but obviously he's being a little loud,
He's rambunctious.
rambunctious. They don't really pop up in this show. Usually they're pretty quiet and they fuck off.
It's usually Tully.
Yeah, it's usually Tully or Frankie, usually one of the girls, but I guess today it's one of the boys.
Yeah. Anyway, so Alice and Arnie pop up, and they grab the pills, and they're reading them, like the markings on the pills, trying to figure out what they are. And then they see the book, and they grab it, and they're like looking through it, and they're like, "Oh, she drew a map in here." And they were like, the Seraphir was like written in the map, and they're like, "I know where this is." So they take off running with the book. And
Cindy's running after them because they stole her, uh Alice steals her little purse
yeah,
that has the drugs in it, and they end up taking the drugs, Alice and, what the heck is his name? Arnie?
Arnie,
Okay, Arnie.
Arnie.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry if I keep calling him something different. He's
Eh,
kind of irrelevant,
yeah, it is
to
whatever.
be fair.
But
Um,
they start taking like handfuls of these pills, and then like an hour of them in the woods goes by, and they're like, "It's not doing anything." And Alice is like, "Oh, well, just take more." Haha. So they're just popping like all of these pills, and then we cut back to Ziggy and Nick, and they're
Ziggy and Nick, and they're just kinda getting to know each other and talking about, like, Stephen King and different things, and they're starting to get to know each other a little more, like, he's asking their relationship with, like, her and her sister,
mhm,
and she's asking, like, "Do you really wanna be a sheriff?" Because his dad is also the town sheriff, so
well, his dad just passed away.
oh, so I guess he's being set up to continue the tradition and stuff like that, and he has, like, all these high expectations placed on him.
Because they're technically like a legacy family going back to the original settlement.
Yeah. So
They also, sorry, we skipped the part. The girl who was a bitch to Ziggy, uh, gets a note from Nick saying, "Oh, meet me in the outhouse." And she goes, like, and there's candles leading to like one of the stalls. And she's like, "Oh, Nick, this is so cute." And then the door locks behind her and a bucket of uh, cockroaches lands on her. And she starts freaking out, but she's like locked in the outhouse.
yeah, they lock her in there, and, yeah, and they run off back to, like, that science-y, like,
Yeah. And that's when they're
cabin,
getting to know each other.
getting to know each other and whatever, and it gets a little romantic
Aw.
and cute. Cute, though.
Yeah.
Not, like, over the top, and then they end up, sharing a kiss,
Hmm.
and then that's when what happens then?
Well, then we see Cindy and them.
Oh, it goes back to Cindy.
They find where the witch's house was.
Uh-huh.
Like the what's left of it, because it's from fucking 1600s. And it's just a staircase going underground.
Yeah, and Alice is, like, screaming in there, and then, Cindy's like, "It's not funny, Alice, like, give me back the bag." And she's calling out for Sarah Fear. "Are you here? Like, let's go wake her up." They go down there. The 4 of them go down there. Now they're looking at, like, it looks like an apothecary a little bit.
Yeah. And they find they find the room
Uh-huh.
with the big witch's mark on the floor with candles everywhere.
Mhm. And then they touch, the wick of one of the candles, and they're like, "Somebody was definitely here not long ago."
She was like, someone was here like today, like recently.
Uh-huh.
And Arnie just chimes in. He's like, "Oh, I know what these pills are. They're Tylenol." Ha ha ha.
Yeah, because when they were walking, he's like, "I'm not feeling anything." And then she's like, "Take another one.
Yeah, just take more.
Take more, because we don't know what the F it is, so just take more."
Fuck it.
Right?
And then he realizes they're just Tylenol. And he's like, "Oh, have fun."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tommy is like getting more and more just out of it.
Yeah, he's really out of it. He's just standing in the corner being quiet, and I don't know if you noticed, but, like, flies were starting to kinda come around him,
Hmm.
and so, Cindy and Alice kinda go a little bit more deeper in,
Hmm.
and Alice stumbles across all these killers scratched into the stone, their names.
Like the names are like etched into the.
Yeah, and then she calls Cindy over, and she's like, "All except one," and it's Tommy's name.
Mhm.
And at first Cindy's like, "That's not funny, Alice, like, what the hell?" And she's like, "You think I would scratch that with my fingernails in stone?
She's like, "Get real."
Get real."
And then we cut back to Arnie and Tommy, and they're like,
let's get out of here pretty much. Like Arnie's like, all right, there's nothing here. Let's get out of here. Let's go back to the infirmary and see if we could actually find some actual drugs.
hmm,
And then Tommy like gets possessed and he ends up picking up an axe and killing Arnie. And then the girls see him kill Arnie, so they run off. They find this bookshelf that like ended up leading into like these tunnels.
hmm.
And Cindy's like, quick, help me. They pull it down. The girls jump in there. They crawl in there and Tommy's right about to like get Cindy and like start pulling her leg and she hits him and in the process like a whole bunch of rocks fall.
They crush him, but then Cindy's or Alice is like, wait, listen. And then they hear him breathing and get up, and she's like, how the fuck did that not kill him?
Yeah.
Like,
So Cindy at this point is well, Alice is like he can't get us cuz like we're in here.
hmm,
But then Cindy's like we're trapped and he's going to go back to camp and we need to my sister like we need to warn them.
hmm.
And Alice originally is like, no help. Alice originally is like, we're fucked. We're gonna die. We're cursed.
Hmm.
Um,
Just a lot of fun to be around.
yeah, pretty much. And
And
like, get over it. And we deserve to die, pretty much.
so they're going through these tunnels, and Tommy's going back towards camp.
Yeah. So then you see Tommy actually um going through and killing.
He fucks up a lot of people very quickly because they started Color War, which they were the first game of Color War for that night was supposed to be capture the flag. So all the campers are like spread out in the woods. So we see, oh, the poor fucking kid. The one little nerdy kid from Shadyside is like the jailer, and he
Hmm.
has the three kids from Sunnyvale in there, and they're like making fun of him, and I feel really bad for him.
Yeah.
But then two other kids like hit him with water balloons or something. I forget what they hit him with. Eggs. Oh, it was eggs.
They egg him and he can't see because he has glasses and they run out
And then
and they're free. And then all of a sudden he's by himself. Tommy comes and he's like, "Oh, Tommy." And at first he's excited to see him, and then all you hear is him getting killed.
he gets chopped to
Yep,
bits.
he gets chopped to bit. So now we have a raging Tommy, like free in the camp,
Mhm.
killing people.
Just left and right.
Yeah,
Uh, People are finding bodies, so they're like, "Fuck! Everybody get back to camp. Color War's over. Like everybody get back to the mess hall." And they're just running around trying to collect people. And then Ziggy and Nick are in the science room, and they hear a scream. And doesn't Tommy come in there?
he does, but yeah, Tommy does. Tommy does go in there
Because
after like they kiss, right? Uh, Tommy goes in there to go after um them and they're like hiding in between. No, actually it doesn't happen just yet. They all get to the mess hall first and they're then Nick and one of the other camp counselors cuz he's a camp counselor is like we need to go and warn the others. Like they start getting a head count of all the kids.
they're missing like 32 people.
They're missing like 32 people. So he's like, you and I are going to go out there and we're going to find the rest of the kids. We're going to yell out for them to all get to the mess hall. And, um,
Then he's like, Ziggy, you have to stay here and keep an eye on the people
yeah,
here.
and Ziggy wants to leave because Ziggy's like, my sister's out there. And he's like, no, like, you can't leave. You know, I can't let you get hurt type of thing. The other camp counselor's like, do you know that's a,
Like, it's a camper, right? And he's
that's
like,
a
don't worry
camper,
about
right? Kind of thing. And he's like, don't worry about it. Like, let's go
it. Yeah.
type of thing. So they start running around, like telling people, like, get back to the mess hall. The game is over. Get back to the mess hall. And some kids are like going, but then you see other kids getting killed. Um, you also see these other camp counselors that are hooking up in a different cabin, and one of them gets killed. The other one is like running outside in a towel,
Mhm.
like, oh my God. Like, and then he's like, get to the get to the mess hall. There's a killer on the loose. Um,
Pile everybody into the bus and get
Pile
out of here.
everybody into the bus and get the fuck out of camp.
Yeah, and then Ziggy, who's at the mess hall, is like,
Yeah, she gets cornered by the one mean girl that burned her in the beginning.
no, she's still in
She still is, but she gets cornered by her
her friends.
friends,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Where is she?" And she's like, "Oh shoot!" And she runs out of the mess hall to tell Nick that we forgot about Sheila, but he's gone already. So
She gets to the outhouse and opens the door and runs inside, and Sheila was not there, was she?
she was there. She attacked.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She attacked Ziggy, and then
Ziggy knocks her the fuck out.
Ziggy knocks her the fuck out.
And
And
that's when she's in the stall, and one of the camp counselors, Gary, comes in and he's like, "What the fuck is happening?" And as that happens, the axe just goes right through his head.
yeah, and then uh right before that, like a minute or two before that, Alice and Cindy find their way over there because they actually pick up the book and they realize that the book is a map
Mm.
of some sort, and it says all paths lead to here. And they find like this heart looking thing that's like pumping
Oh yeah.
blood, and they just were like, oh my God, that smells nasty. And then they were going to keep going. But then Alice actually ends up touching it. And then she starts seeing like dead people around her. So she starts running and breaks her ankle during this part. And Cindy ends up helping her, like wrapping her up and saying, you're right, we are cursed. We're going to probably die and all this stuff. And that's when you find out that Cindy did snitch on her, like, and she got pulled into the principal's office for something completely different, and they were calling her parents.
Mm.
But at this time, her dad had already left them, and her mom started drinking, and she knew that her parents weren't going to come.
Mm.
So she ended up pinning the blame on Alice and snitching on her. And then she decided to ditch all of her old friends, ditch her outfits, and like lay low and be good and be positive. And she was like, I should have listened to Ziggy, like that we're all cursed and fucked, and I should have just slept around and had fun and drank and partied and
Mm.
just accepted that I was never going to get out of Shadyside. And Alice reveals that she cuts herself and says it's not all up to par either on her end.
Mm.
And then they continue going. And then that's when
They spot the red
they
moss.
spot the red moss, and that's the same red moss that stained Cindy's shirt. So then she's like, oh my God, the outhouse. And then that's when they start yelling from the toilet, and Ziggy opens the toilet and sees Cindy and Alice. And then they were originally going to start pulling them up.
That's right.
But then the killer comes up behind. I don't remember the kid's name.
That was
Oh,
Gary.
Gary. Irrelevant. He gets killed.
Mm.
Anyways. And Ziggy's screaming. They're screaming. He gets his whole body comes right down on them.
Mm.
Alice falls.
Yeah, she hits the ground hard.
Yeah, she hits the ground hard. I'm surprised she didn't hurt herself even more
Mm.
from that fall. Um, Ziggy runs away. The killer's chasing her. Meanwhile, while that's happening, they're like, there has to be another way back to camp. And Alice is like, the mess hall. And it's just kind of like, go without me, go save your sister. Like, I'm just gonna slow you down. I will meet you there. And then so Cindy runs off to go find where the mess hall is. And Alice, meanwhile, she's bleeding from her nose
Mhm.
and then looks at the book and says, blood will fall when the hand is near.
Mhm.
So she starts digging in the moss and actually finds the hand of Seraphir. So she puts it in the bag, Cindy's purse, and and then makes her way over to the mess hall also. While that's going on, Ziggy is still running away from the killer. She runs to go to try to get on the bus, but the bus has already left without her.
Mhm.
So she goes back into the mess hall and she starts playing music really loud in there. And then she starts hiding from the killer and, well, which is Tommy, as
Tommy.
you know. And Tommy's like going after her, like he's looking for her. He's hunting for her now. And as this is going on, Cindy realizes Ziggy's in trouble. So she finds her way underground of the mess hall and sees a vent. So she starts banging the vent to get open, to get out and help Ziggy. And just as before Tommy's about to kill Ziggy, Cindy ends up killing Tommy.
Mhm.
And then they save each other. Alice comes out and Alice comes out and says, I found the hand and says,
Mind you, we didn't mention the hand thing. So the witch had a curse when she died that I think they cut off her hand or something like that, and she put a curse on
the land, pretty much.
Shadyside,
Yeah.
basically cursing them to always suffer forever and ever because they wronged her. That's why, no hand.
Yeah. So then that's when they start reading through the book and they're like, we can end this. We can save Shadyside. We just have to reunite the hand and her body
Mhm.
and put it to rest. So then from the map that Nurse Lane drew, she drew a map basically showing where Seraphir was hung, the hanging tree. So then they all decide, okay, they're going to go to the hanging tree. They're going to dig it up and reunite the hand with the body. And right before they're about to leave, Alice is like, all right, like, let's go. And originally Cindy was like, no, you can't. Like, you need to stay behind. Like, basically, you're kind of going to slow us down without saying those words. And she's like, no, I've waited this long. Please let me see it through. They were about to tell her yes.
Mhm.
And then Tommy kills her. And then,
Yeah, Tommy comes back, and mind you, at this point, when he was fighting Ziggy, Cindy put a bag on his head,
uh-huh.
and that's when you realize he's the giant axe killer from the 90s, and
Hmm.
he's like a big guy with a burlap sack on his head.
Yeah. And that's Tommy. Um, the reason why the killers actually come back is Ziggy leaned over the hand and blood from her nose drips onto the hand and she sees the witch.
Mhm.
And she sees flashbacks of the witch. And as we know from the first movie now, anytime blood of a person drips onto Seraphir, uh, the witch shows you flashbacks of the past,
Mhm.
of the curse. And then that's when the killers all awaken and they won't stop until you're dead.
Yeah.
So they go running, unfortunately, to the hanging tree. And when they go to the hanging tree, they start digging to get to the rest of her body. and they're being surrounded all around by all the killers. And Ziggy's like, Cindy, like they're coming, and she's like, dig faster. And then they just find a rock that says, "Here lies Seraphir," and it doesn't say anything else. There's no body, nothing.
It was not the grave after all.
It was not the grave after all. Um, they get killed. Cindy's like, let me let my sister go, let my sister go. They put up an a okay fight, but unfortunately they both get killed.
Cindy gets fucking chopped up.
Yeah, Cindy gets fucked up. Yeah, but so does Ziggy.
Ziggy's getting stabbed left and right.
Ziggy gets stabbed left and right. They're both getting killed. Um, then they both die. They look at each other, they're reaching their hands out to each other. They both die. The killers all disappear because Ziggy now is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when Nick Good finds her and saves Ziggy by
The CPR.
the CPR, saves her. And then this is when it starts it starts ending where Cindy's getting taken away in a body bag. You see all these other bodies laid out in front of the camp. And it ends with the cops questioning like what her name is and what happened here. And Ziggy's like, the witch. And Nick is like, it was Tommy. He went crazy
Mm-hmm.
and started killing everybody. And that's when it ends with present time C. Berman saying, and that's the last I saw of my sister.
Did you find out Ziggy is actually C. Berman? And
Yeah,
what was her actual name?
Christine.
Christine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you hear a clock ring from present time, and that's when Ziggy is basically saying, like, we're doomed. There's nothing we could do. And then that's when Dina and Josh are like, no, but we stumbled across the body. That's why she came after us.
Mm.
We stumbled across the body. We know where the body is. Where is the hand, though? Because Ziggy knows where the hand is. And then it cuts to the scene of you're looking straight at the mall now.
Yeah. And the hanging tree is now in like dead center of the mall in the like food court area. So Dina and Josh are digging up the hand, and then they jump in the car and they go to where the grave is. And Dina's like, Josh, stay in the fucking car. He's like, no, no. She's like, no, stay in the fucking car. So she goes to do what she has to do, and she touches the grave, and that's when it flashes back and the credits roll, and she's now in the 1600s in her mind.
1600s, and that's when it goes to Fear Street Part 3. We are
Running very low on time.
running very low on time, so what we're going to do for you guys, because you know what, it's my birth week, so we're going to do something a little different and a little special for you guys. We're going to do Part 2
I think so.
of this episode, and we are going to cover Fear Street Part 3 and Fear Street Prom Queen. We'll probably touch on real
We'll
quick for
mention
you
it.
guys. But thanks for listening. Keep listening and check out the next episode. That will be part 2 of this episode.
Yes, we will be back shortly.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Later, guys.